I finally unlocked Nebula Camo in Black Ops 6 Zombies. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Now, obviously, you know, if you've been watching the channel, you know I could have unlocked this a lot sooner. It's just that I've kind of been multitasking and my brain's sort of been all over the place. But before we get into all that, in this video, I will be giving a couple of tips or pointers as to how I would recommend going for this camo, and you're not going to like what I have to say, but you may also like what I have to say depending on your mindset. So, first things first, let's just go into a private match and look at the camo. So here is Nebula Camo in-game. Now, the one thing that, I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, or if anybody else happens to think this, but I feel like this camo is literally just a blend of Borealis and Interstellar, the mastery camos from Modern Warfare 3 for both multiplayer and zombies. Because obviously in its default state, this looks a lot, like, scarily similar to Borealis, and then when you start to shoot the weapon, it does that thing where it sort of heats up in a way and another camo comes through, and that camo, you can't tell me that this now doesn't literally just look like Interstellar, kind of like morphed in there with Borealis. I mean, am I wrong? But hey, I am not complaining because the camo is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, just doing the inspect there, especially if you catch it sort of in the middle between that heat up and cool period, it just... Man, yeah, I was about to say Borealis, oh my goodness. Wait, what is this came out? Oh yeah, Nebula. I've been grinding so much, my brain, it's literally just Play-Doh. Then also got it here on the GS45. I mean, you have to get it on the GS45. This is like one of the weapons in zombies this year. It's pretty cool because it isn't just like an instant transmission, or instant transmission. There we go, Dragon Ball now. I'm telling you guys, this grind will take a lot out of you. But it's not just like an instant transition from the normal Borealis looking thing to like the Interstellar looking thing. I literally don't know what else to talk, like, or what else to call it. You kind of see like it slowly warms up and then it'll like slowly cool back down as well, and like the more you heat it up per se, the longer it'll take to cool back down. So man, yeah, this camo is absolutely gorgeous, definitely worth it. So now we're gonna go ahead and talk about some tips for this camo. Before that though, I do just gotta say that it's pretty cool being able to, you know, like spawn in with one weapon in game, be like, oh yeah, I got Nebula on this one, but I feel like using dark matter now. So then you like pull out the baseball bat, for example, and then, you know, just start rocking dark matter. Now, once I get Abyss camo, I'll probably have it rock into where it's like, for multiplayer, for example, I spawn in with dark matter, my secondary has Nebula, and then I'll have like Abyss camo in my melee weapon or something, just so that I can rock like all three at once. But anyways, yeah, as I was mentioning at the beginning of the video, I could have had Nebula camo a lot sooner. It's just that I've been doing other grinds intermittently. Like when the game first came out, I went all in on dark matter, unlocked that in the first 2 weeks of the game being out, and then I've like intermittently also been going for Abyss camo alongside Nebula camo. Towards the end of the Nebula camo grind, I just ended up going all in on Nebula anyway, but I have made some progress towards Abyss. So once I go over there and I start going all in on the Abyss camo grind, at least I won't be starting from scratch. And then there's also the fact that I was about to unlock Nebula about a week ago, but then Citadel Del More came out, and then things just got a little messy there with the content schedule, so I kind of had to put that off so I could, you know, grind out the Easter egg on Citadel Del More, and, you know, just find all the cool little secrets, complete the Easter egg, all that. But in terms of actually completing this camo, you are not going to like what I have to say. If you want to have the most fun unlocking Nebula camo, do not go into directed mode, don't do any of that nonsense. Literally, just play the game normally, enjoy the camo grind, even if it takes you the entire year, have fun with it. Do not try to knock it all out at once. However, if you would like to do a nice in-between like I did, where if you enjoy that normal zombies progression, but you don't want to cheese it and do that absolutely boring strategy in directed mode, which let me just say, I did the directed mode strategy for 3 weapons. I did it once with the AK-74, just so I could test it and see what this strategy was that everybody was talking about, you know, where you sit on the rooftop in directed mode, and yeah, that was the most boring thing ever. It literally put me to sleep. And then I did it with the GS45 and the LR7.62, just due to the fact that when you pack-a-punch them, it's really hard to get critical kills with those since they become explosive. So if you want my in-between strategy, which is actually just as fast, if not a little bit faster once you get into the high rounds, for getting headshots overall, just grab the water valve in Liberty Falls, put it, go into the bowling alley, start doing the thing where you crack your knuckles. It speeds up the zombie spawns. It will actually give you more zombie spawns per round because you also get some extra vermin as well as the purple-eyed zombies. And as long as you have the water valve on there, it will skip the vermin rounds, which means you're going to be getting more zombies and more critical kills overall. And as long as you exfil by the time you hit round 30, you'll be getting that nice mix of, like, the zombies without having to deal with too many special enemies. Now, granted, after Season 1 Reloaded, they did just nerf the amount of special enemies that will spawn in the mid-round, so like round 30 to 40. So realistically, I mean, even before the patch, I was still pushing it to like round 35, round 40 sometimes, just because some of the weapons in the game, like the snipers, for example, are so good to where you can push it that high. So I was literally completing some guns within an hour just in one match like that. So those are the two strategies so far. You can either just play the game normally, even if it takes you a bit longer, which is how I would recommend doing it. And then you also have the in-between strategy where you still play the game normally, but you know, you're still kind of doing a quote-unquote cheesy strategy, but not really, because you're still actually playing the game and not just, you know, cheesing something that's actually meant for new players, but, you know, just doing some really boring strategy, which again, you know, it's one of those things where I don't condone those strategies, but I understand why other people do it. You know, maybe they just want a more chilled out experience. Maybe they want a faster route to the camo, because I mean, I don't know, that's how Call of Duty players do things, I guess. They just kind of min-max everything just, you know, for the sake of getting a camo, even if it means they're not really even playing the game. But then, yeah, so, you know, you have all those cheesy direct mode strategies. If you'd rather do it that way to get the camo, which again, I'm not faulting anybody for doing that. Hey, you spend your $70 or you pay your monthly Game Pass subscription, do whatever you want to get the camo. I'm just talking about from my personal perspective as a Call of Duty and furthermore a video game player that just enjoys having fun when playing video games. And I'm sorry, but as far as the critical kills go, if you were looking for some secret strategy to get all 60k critical kills or whatever, I'm sorry, there's not. You're just gonna have to tough it out and get through it. In terms of the special camos, they're basically the same, where it's just, oh, kill a certain amount of enemies, except make sure you have napalm equipped, or go kill some vermins, or go kill some anglers. So those are pretty easy. Mr. Gold, super easy. Get 10 rapid kills 15 times. You're gonna complete that naturally. 30 special zombie eliminations. So how I would have recommend doing this before the Season 1 Reloaded patch is to literally just play the game normally, because, I mean, by the time you hit round 40, round 50, it is going to, you're going to be completing one weapon like every other round, and I'm not even kidding about that. However, after the Season 1 Reloaded patch, I cannot confirm how many special enemies actually spawn, so I would have to test that for myself. Again, I would recommend just playing the game normally, which is what I did for 29 of the weapons in the game. The only reason I broke down and ended up doing a bit of a cheesy strategy, which I will explain what that strategy was towards the end. It was for like, again, like the last 4 or 5 weapons. And it was simply because Citadel Del Mar was coming out, and it was at a point in my content schedule where I was like, hey, I do not condone these strategies. I don't even have fun doing these cheesy strategies, but I want to be able to unlock Nebula before Citadel Del Mar comes out, so then I can just, you know, just focus on playing the map, focus on going all in on the content there. Obviously, it didn't shake out that way. Citadel Del Mar came out. I was still just a bit short on Nebula, so even though I was literally in the middle of the Afterlife grind, I just had to put that on hold so I could just enjoy the new map and go all in on that. So, you know, even in the end, resorting to the cheesy strategy didn't do anything for me, and I just would have ended up having more fun playing the game normally, and it still would have resulted in the same thing. But basically, the strategy that I did, which isn't even necessarily the fastest strategy for getting special limbs done, is I did the entire Liberty Falls Easter egg in directed mode, and then basically, once you get to the final step where you're about to, you know, activate the final boss fight, you want to make sure you're at the round cap of round 15. You need to complete round 15, save and quit, and you have to make sure you complete the entire round each time. You go in, complete the entirety of round 15, activate the final boss, defeat the 3 manglers that spawn in, save and quit, and repeat. If you're being inefficient, you can get 3 manglers, basically 1 mangler every minute, but if you're being really efficient, you have like the jet gun and, you know, or maybe just like another powerful weapon like the GS-45, you'll be looking at about 3 manglers every 2 to 2.5 minutes. I know there's other strategies. You can like cheese the manglers in the bank, or just do the one on the rooftop again where you get a mangler every 57 seconds. Again, Call of Duty players go crazy with their times and min-maxing everything. I don't get it. Just play the game and have fun. And if I'm gonna be honest, I do regret cheesing. Even if it was only 4 weapons, I do regret cheesing those 4 weapons, because again, I just wanted to get it done just so then things would kind of line up nicely in the content schedule, but it didn't even shake out that way anyway. So if I could go back, yeah, I just would have kept doing it normally anyway. But again, it was only for 4 weapons, and I can tell you, I had much more fun just playing the game normally for the other 29 weapons in the game. Afterlife camo, you're going to complete this naturally over time. It's such a simple challenge. Get 20 kills, 20 or more consecutive kills 10 times without taking damage. There's multiple ways you could possibly cheese this if you wanted to do it in directed mode, or if you just play the game normally. Literally, you'll complete it naturally either way. It's impossible not to complete this challenge. Also, speaking of Afterlife, shout out to the OGs that have been playing Call of Duty since the classic days and can remember Afterlife camo in Black Ops 2. Obviously, this isn't a one-to-one of that, but, you know, it's a nice callback. It's not my Afterlife camo, it still looks pretty nice. And finally here for Nebula camo, get 10 elite zombie eliminations. There's multiple ways you could go about this, and this is the one part of the camo grind where I would still say, play the game normally. You will have more fun that way. You'll unlock the camo over time. It's not a race. You have the entire year to get this done. But if you want to rush to get this done, This is the one camo where I would say I can't really blame you, just because if you try to do all 33 weapons in the game on top of all the weapons that will be coming out throughout the seasons, this one will take you a very long time. If you're playing Terminus or Citadel Del More or, Liberty Falls, it's going to take you until at least round 15, or in Citadel Del More, round 16, until you see your first elite zombie. Even if you go through and do the entirety of, say, like the Terminus Easter egg, where you get all the amalgams at the end as you're fighting Patient 13, or if you try to go for high rounds, by the time you reach, like, maybe like round 40, by then you'd complete a weapon or two. So this is the one time where I would say, look, if you want to cheese it in directed mode, I cannot blame you, and I will give you the strategy to do so. In Liberty Falls, you complete all of the Easter egg, or at least most of it, up until you get to that step where you need to take the ether canisters and the LTG device, and you bring in an HVT, because those do count as elite enemies. And basically, what you want to do is you want to not do it correctly. Normally how you have to walk them into the trap, you shoot and their soul gets collected into the canister. Don't do that. Instead, shoot them. Just shoot them as soon as they spawn in. Do not take them to the canister. Don't activate the trap. And then it will kill them. It will count as 1 towards your elite zombie eliminations. And then after that, once the next round starts, you have to clear out the rest of the round, because the LTG will go into cooldown. So make sure you finish the entirety of that round. And then once the next round starts, you'll be able to spawn in another one. And then another one. You know what I mean? Just like round after round, just keep spawning one in. And then once you complete one weapon, what I would recommend doing is keeping a very powerful weapon on hand. So get one that's like, at least Pack-a-Punch 2, like Epic Rarity, something like that, because you'll be on round 15. You want to make sure you're doing a decent amount of damage. And every time that you spawn one in, say you finish that first weapon that's like already super powerful. Say you're doing it on the XM4. You have this Pack-a-Punch 2 Epic Rarity. Use that to whittle the boss's health bar down, but then go grab something like, whatever other weapon you want to get Nebula on, and then finish them off once their health is really low, and then that'll still count as an elite zombie elimination for that other weapon. Because otherwise, if you would try to just keep cycling through weapons, keep, saving up enough to go Pack-a-Punch them, and save up all the salvage to do that, it would just take even longer. So do the first weapon you want to do, make sure it's like super powerful, that'll be easy to knock out, and then afterwards just do what I said, hold on to the powerful weapon, whittle the boss's health down every time they spawn in, use the weaker weapon that you also want to get Nebula on, and then, just keep that cycle going for all 33 weapons of the game. Again, this is the one where I can say, look, this one's going to take a long time. I can't really fault you either way. I'd still recommend just taking your time and playing the game and having fun, because, this would take a long time to grind out. Honestly, I don't even have Nebula on every single weapon in the game yet, obviously. I still got to go through and do that, so I'm at the point where I think I'm just going to play the game legit. I really don't feel like sitting in directed mode, but this is the one camo where I couldn't fault myself or anybody else for just kind of wanting to get it done, just with how long it takes. I really feel like they could have made it either only 5 elite zombie eliminations, or do what they did in Cold War, where, because in that game, it was like special eliminations, but then like elite kills would count as 3. Instead, since elite challenges is the challenge here, I would say make it so that Easter egg bosses count as 3, or maybe they count as 5. Could you imagine? Like, that would be awesome. If it was all 10 for like, even then, maybe that wouldn't be a bad idea. Having Easter egg balls count as 10 elite eliminations, or at least 5, I don't know. I feel like that'd be a nice balance change, but really, that's all I can say about Nebula Camo. No matter how you do it, is going to take you a long time to complete. However, despite the fact that it takes a long time to complete, yeah, it's definitely worth it. Especially when you're able to set your classes up like this. You got like Nebula on one weapon, then you got Dark Matter on the one other weapon, and then yeah, I still gotta go through and get Abyss Camo, but that will be next. Like I said, as you can see here, I did make some progress. This is one of my less progressed weapons. This one only has like 28 kills on it, but I have been playing some wars and have started working on that, so again, at least I won't be starting out completely fresh over there, but it's still gonna take me a while to get it all done. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe that I forgot to mention this, just considering, like, at first I was kind of driving myself batty, like, okay, how am I gonna get this done, until I just took a minute to think of a decent strategy. So, oh my god, I just hit my thumb on my desk, that really hurt. When you're going for Afterlife Camo for the melee weapons, there is 2 things you need to do. One, make sure you're running decoys, or just, like, run up to the crafting table and make some decoys. Do not make monkey bombs. Make sure they are decoys, and make a lot of them. And then make sure you're running the following augments on Aether Shroud: Void Sheath and Extension. What Void Sheath does is it makes you swap to your dedicated melee weapon, and it imbues your weapon with Dark Aether energy, which means that it's gonna, every kill that you get is gonna allow you to stay in Aether Shroud for longer, which means that the zombies won't be able to see you. And then Extension obviously means that the duration that you'll be in Aether Shroud is greatly extended. So, for every Aether Shroud activation, you should easily be able to get like 20 to 30 kills, depending on what what round you're on. And then when you combine that with the decoy grenades, I found that you could typically get somewhere between like 6 to 7 kills with the decoy grenade, just, you know, safely, because, I mean, you could go for more than that, but then you risk the zombies turning around and swatting you immediately, which they do tend to do because they're really fast. I wouldn't push it more than like maybe 6 kills per decoy. 7 if you're feeling gutsy. Toss another one, just keep repeating it. It is going to take a lot of salvage, but I mean, that's really the most efficient strategy for getting this and the baseball bat done if you're trying to do it legitimately. I'm sure there's like cheesy directed mode strategies for those. Honestly, I'm not sure. That's just what I did. Just spammed a ton of decoys. Hoped I got lucky. You can also kind of like bait out the zombies. So I wouldn't recommend going in and going all crazy. Like, say you don't have a decoy, say you don't have an Ether Shroud ready, but you still want to get some of them done. What you can do is walk up to the zombie like ever so slightly, but don't try to just like get your thing off, because you're gonna be like, oh, you know, I slash so fast with this knife. I bet I'll be able to kill him before he gets me. But no, the zombies do swipe really fast in this game, like a lot faster than you actually think they do. So I'd recommend getting kind of close, but then like backing up, and you'll see them do their SWAT animation. And while they're doing their SWAT animation, as long as their hand is already kind of like down, they won't do any damage to you. So like towards the end of their animation, then run up and slash them. Do not do it before. Trust me. Besides that, I mean, there's not really anything else that was that difficult, you know, especially like once you pack punch the SVD, for example. Like, man, that thing basically turns into like a shotgun of sorts, so that was a lot of fun to get done. The LW3 is really good. The LR 7.62, again, the only hang up there is the fact that when you pack a punch it, it's harder to get critical kills, so maybe do that in directed mode. The pistols, yeah, you know, for the GS45, again, similar to the LR 7.62, that was a little painful, but just in general, these are really weak. So if you do the Liberty Falls strategy that I mentioned and did on video tons of times, I'd probably recommend just exfilling by like round 30 with these at absolute max, just because of how little damage they end up doing by then. And surprisingly, the launchers are actually super easy and they're a ton of fun, which is the complete inverse of what it was like getting those done in multiplayer when it came to getting Dark Matter. So yeah, just grab PhD, do the strategy on Liberty Falls, or just really any map, and yeah, you'll have a blast with those. It is worth noting that they do great damage against special enemies, but a little weak against elite enemies, so do be careful of that. But otherwise, they were a lot of fun. I just noticed that I'm really close to getting that Dark Matter badge over here in Zombies as well. Oh man, yeah, I just gotta get a few more score streaks, get a few more kills with the baseball bat, and then like a few more kills with the Sigma 2B, and then I'll have, oh man, I'll have to get that later today. But anyways, yeah, there it is. Finally did it. Finally got Nebula and Dark Matter in the bag. Just gotta finish up the Abyss camo. I still got a while to go over there. Honestly, I don't even know if I'm gonna go all in on Abyss camo, like that much Warzone back to back to get every weapon. I might just do that one gradually throughout the year. I'm honestly not sure yet. I still want to work on getting Nebula for every weapon in the game, because I'm sure there's like a calling card or whatever for that. So, you know, I at least want to get that, and just, you know, having Nebula on every weapon in the game like I did with Dark Matter would be pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know, man. That Abyss camo grind. Like I don't know. I enjoy Warzone. It's fun and all, but like that much Warzone just back to back to back, especially with how competitive and sweaty it can get over there. Even if I do it in Plunder with infinite respawns, I'm going to be soloing it, going up against squads. I don't know. This, oh man. This will either be a lot of fun or an absolute nightmare. Maybe both, who knows? But hey, you know what they say, live in the moment and all that, so I'm just glad to finally have Dark Matter and Nebula in the bag. But anyway, as always, massive shout out to all the Patreons, and should remember thank you to all you in the low baller tier, and an even bigger shout out to on the big baller tier, Asking, and Big Daddy Manny, and the biggest shout out to on the G tier, run events, and scroll. Thank you guys so much, guys, you're literal legends, I love you. Good on you, Dodaki, arigato, gozaimasu. Have an amazing day, stay beautiful, I love you all. Peace.